Good morning, everybody. How we doing today? Gonna give it a few more minutes here. Got some people jumping in. Isaiah, how we doing?
Hey, good, John. How you doing?
Good, good, good.
Awesome. One of my favorite ladies, Janice, is on here. It's good to see you. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Hi, Victoria. How you doing? Good. Awesome. Mr. Beatty Carmichael, it's good to see you, sir. He's getting hydrated for the talk. This is going to be a good one. I can tell. He's getting hydrated. He's getting ready to go. So, you're on mute, Beatty. I can't if you're talking.
Thank you for that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I was saying it's always a good talk.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we probably have another maybe 15, 20 people that'll be hopping on here as we get going. And I want to kind of just cover a few housekeeping things while we're waiting for people. If you can link back in any way where we've helped you produce $1 million in revenue, closed transactions and or pending transactions since you've been with us, we have a really awesome plaque that we're going to send you. It's called a Rainmaker 2X plaque, and it's going to look something like what you see in my background. And we're going to send it to you in the mail. And we're going to make a huge press release out of it and get you guys some exposure in the media. So if you guys have, can say that you've achieved that goal, we have a whole bunch of them. We have a whole bunch of them coming out, and we'd love to send you one. So I don't know, John, what is the best way do you think to facilitate that?
If they wanted to
apply for the plaque, yeah.
Right. I could put together a quick form, like a survey that they could fill out.
Cool.
What information would you need? Just like name, email, phone number, and then the amount of pending transactions, and amount of closing transactions.
Yeah, closed or pending transactions that they.
And then sales volume.
Yeah, it's actually the sales volume is the most. It's just the sales volume that's the most important. So as long as it's $1 million or more, then you'll get the Rainmaker plaque. Will come to you in the mail. So I think just whoever's name that you want it, what do you want it, the team name or whatever, would be important, John, on the plaque.
Got it. And then do you want an area for them to put the properties in to confirm or no?
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Cool.
What is the criteria I'm striving for?
Yeah, so I love it. So this is called the Rainmaker 2X Club. We're just starting. We're rolling it out, and basically, when you can contribute $1 million in closings to being a part of our system, as long as the lead was in our system, then you can qualify for the 2X, the Rainmaker 2X plaque program, and we'll send it to you. And then we're going to do a really awesome press release and kind of get some exposure to your brand for you. So we have a whole bunch of plaques going out. So if you want, if you want to get a plaque, let us know. If Michelle, I think you're newer, just getting started, but hopefully soon. So we have a lot of people. We're calling it our 90-day fast start program. So a lot of people are really going after it hard and are excited about it. So we just wanted to let you guys know about it too. There'll be like an official email coming out with even more details on it. But it's a way to kind of get your name out there, get some recognition, and get one of those bad boys. And then we actually have one. We actually have one plaque going out. He's knocking on the door. He's knocking on the door of doing $10 million with the REN system in his first year with us. And we're like, he's right around 7 million. He thinks he might be able to get to the 10 million. So we're excited about that. So that'll be a different color plaque. So we'll have different stages, but the first benchmark is doing $1 million. And then you'll have an opportunity to go after other plaques along the way. So
That's gross commission.
no, just in sales.
We're only gonna sell one house in my market.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Right. So this is the funny part, Michelle. So for us, like for an agent in my market to get to that $1 million mark is about 5 homes, maybe 6 homes in my market. So so per year one house, they gotta do 5 or 6. How about your market, Lee?
About 2.5.
2.5. Yeah.
It's average like 300, 350 and where we work.
Cool. Sweet. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So today, as you guys know, this is listing domination, and my goal personally for you and my mission going into 2022 is to help as many people as I can to get to 100 listings in a year. And I know, Janice, you said that was your goal, I think, and that excites me. And what we're doing is we're looking at everything. We're looking at all of our training, all of our coaching, our systems, everything that we're doing, and we're fine tuning things. And we want to hear from you guys, anything that you think we can improve, to talk to, because we want to see every single person that's in our network go after that goal. Now, is it achievable for every single person the first year? Maybe not, but I want us to think bigger, right? I want us to think big. And even though maybe that's a stretch in your mind, or for some of you, you believe it. One thing I do know is it starts with our belief system. And if we expand our thinking, usually our belief system follows. And I want to see that more for you guys. I want to see that for 2022 for you guys, is to get excited about going after a goal of 100 listings. And with some key agents on our team, with our brokerage, we're having this conversation right now. We're like, okay, what do you got to do? You know, a couple of my agents did 60, 70. They want to get to 100. And we're having that conversation. So I just encourage you to just think big, get excited about that, because there's so many amazing things that happen when you get to that mark. Your margins are unbelievable. Your ability to be able to attract top producing agents to your team increases, because they start seeing your listings everywhere. They start seeing your successes. So if you decide you want to start hiring people, obviously the leverage that it creates, there's some really amazing things that happen when you start dominating the listing side. And today we're going to be talking about the different ways to use postcards to do that. And I know some of you are doing postcards right now, but my hope is for us to look at our process and find areas to fine tune our process if we are using postcards, and have a really deep discussion about that. And then maybe think of different ways that we can use postcards than the traditional things that we were currently thinking about. And I got the postcard master here today, Beatty, to facilitate this discussion and have a really great mastermind group around this topic. So Beatty, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, very good. Thank you on that. And yeah, this is a topic that I love, and it's a topic I've lived for many years. So welcome everyone. Let me pull up my screen. Let me get it set up where I can do this. And I want to walk you through what we call performance-driven postcards. Here we go. And you guys can see that okay, is that correct? All right,
Yes.
perfect. All right, so I want to talk about what we call field-tested performance-driven postcards. What we found that if you want to drive additional listings through postcards, there are some ways to do it. And the postcards that we've put together have been tested over the years. I'll show that to you in just a moment. But they produce up to 10 times more listings than you get from typical postcards. And I want to walk you through why that works and how to apply it in your business. Just a little background about me. I've been in business all my adult life. The business I currently have was my attempt number 11, and it worked. Okay, that was 1997. And for the first 15 years, we were doing marketing for agents in different industries, about 15 different consumer industries, and driving their sales volumes up quite substantially. In 2012, we shifted our focus to work exclusively with real estate agents. And that's what we do today. Almost our core focus is postcards, but we're really a marketing company that delivers a marketing message via postcard. I think that's a better way to describe it, because that's why we're getting the 10x type of results. And we do things with geographic farming, with your past clients and sphere of influence, just sold postcards, agent attraction, anything where you're trying to attract another person to do business with you. In the real estate world, we pretty much do that. And the question comes up first is, why use postcards? They're awfully expensive, and digital ads and email and things of that sort, social marketing, social media marketing is all free, or for the most part. So I want to talk about shelf life, because this has a significant impact into why postcards work. Your digital ad has a shelf life of maybe 3 to 5 seconds. I know the digital ads I see on the computer and on my handheld, I don't even see them. I'm trained to skip over them and not even look at them. Your email marketing has a shelf life of probably 30 to 45 seconds, but postal mail marketing has a shelf life of typically about 17 days. So you get a lot more shelf life for the money that you spend. And I want to talk about what I call persuasion effectiveness. The only way that you can get 10x return over the standard postcards is that you're doing something that persuades people to choose you that other postcards aren't doing. And there is a master of this named Gary Halbert. He is no longer living, but some of the names that you might recognize within the real estate world that he has greatly influenced, and much of their marketing success and prowess comes directly because of Gary Halbert. There's a guy named Dan Kennedy or Dane Jackson, Craig Proctor, and yours truly, Beatty Carmichael. And I want to share just one test that he did to kind of support this. He decided to do a split sales test with his customer database. So he wrote a sales letter, and on half the list, he emailed it, and the other half of the list, he actually spent a lot of money and mailed it through the mail. When he tabulated all the results, what he found is the snail mail sales letter produced 20 times the results of the email. Now, the email didn't cost him anything up front, but it cost him 20 times the sales by going the cheap route, okay? That's basically what he found, and that's what we find in the mail as well. And the reason for it is part of what happens in the marketing side of things is what we call positioning. If you've ever read Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, he calls it mindshare dominance. But basically, it's how do you get your mind, your brand to the top of someone's mind and keep it there? And there's a number of things that you can do with it. But what we did is through a number of studies and tests, we found that it all boils down to one thing, and that's the thing we call trust. And trust is hard to define for most people. It took us a while, but once you can define what trust is and break it down to its actual components, then you can begin to use those components in your marketing to make sure that every bit of your marketing is carrying the element of trust that causes someone to respond. And what we found with trust is you can break it down into 3 categories. Number one, do those homeowners that you're marketing to trust that you are always selling. Okay. The simple question is this: if I'm a homeowner, I'm going to choose to sell my home, and I have two agents that I know. One I see all the time is selling homes, and the other one I assume they are selling because they've been a real estate agent for a while, but I never see any evidence of the sales. I don't see their signs. I don't get a just sell postcard. I just know that they're a real estate agent. Question is, which one am I going to choose? I'm going to choose the one that I know is always selling. Okay. So that's the first element of trust. The second element of trust is what I call expertise. Okay. So now think about these two two agents again. I'm a homeowner thinking about selling, and one agent, I know their expertise. I used to work with them. I'm no longer selling homes, but I've seen how hard they work. I know all their credentials. I know the things that they do that make their sales better than someone else. The other agent I know is also a good friend of mine. I know that agent is constantly selling, but I don't know anything about their expertise. So now if I look at it based on expertise, which agent am I going to choose? I'm going to choose the one that I trust the expertise in. So that's an element of trust. The third and final element is this thing we call met list. Okay. Do they trust you as a person? And what we find is if they've met you, they are 8 to 10 times more likely to do business with you than if they haven't met you. And this is why in Gary's book, the first 2 chapters pretty much were focused on what type of list is most effective. And they said, when you boil it all down, there's only 2 differentiators. And those 2 differentiators are, have you met them or have you not met them? And what we've been able to calibrate within our own database, and we've corroborated this with other through other research, is that a met list will do business with you 8 to 10 times more freely and more readily than someone that they haven't met. So that's what creates trust.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk.
Just a quick
Yeah.
question. If that's okay.
Okay.
Because I want this to be a mastermind, and people can kind of ask questions during the transition. And I'll just be upfront. Like I'm just curious. I personally haven't done postcards to my have met list, and I'm curious, has anybody else done that? Like, has anyone else ever tried that here? Because that, I think, is a huge potential area of opportunity for people, like, where I don't think postcards to my SOI. I'm just being transparent. I'm not saying
Right.
it's good or right. I just don't think that way. Does anyone else? I want to hear from everybody else. Has anyone else ever thought about that? Like if we could have a dialogue, Betty, if it's okay with
Yeah.
you.
I would love a dialogue.
Yeah.
Can I share a dialogue I had with one of my clients?
Sure.
He's
Yeah.
a top producer down in Marco Island, and he's involved with a coaching program, a coach who coaches about 10 or 12 top producers across the country. And the coach said, let's get together and I want you to analyze your sales from the last year, and let's talk about where the majority of your sales came from. And it was past client sphere of influence, past client sphere of influence, past client sphere of influence, past client, all the way around the block, except for my client, because he wasn't marketing to his past clients and sphere of influence. And so those agents who are top producers with a consistent flow of volume, they're marketing to their past clients and sphere of influence. One of my personal friends, who's also a top producer, half of his business always comes from past clients and sphere of influence, and it's only through his postcard marketing. That's all he does to it.
Interesting. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments? Or
There's a guy on my real estate team. He does 40 million a year, and it's all postcards.
that's wild.
All postcards. But I mean, it takes a while. Talk a little bit of how long I stepped out. I had to take a call, so I missed a few minutes of your presentation. Like, if you want to have postcards be a predominant piece, I mean, how long do you need to stick with it before you start seeing the results?
Yeah, for like SOI versus like
Yeah. I'm going to show that to you. It's going to blow your mind because, and I hadn't gotten to that part of what I was going to show you.
Oh, sorry.
But just to kind of jump ahead so that you guys will be looking for what we're doing. I don't think I've had a single person marketing to the cold market of about 1,000 addresses or more that did not get a listing on their first mailing or maybe the second mailing at the very least, at the very latest. So there are ways to do it. And what we've done is breaking the mold of what traditional postcard marketing is typically done. I'll show that to you.
Janice, you had a question, I think. Janice said something.
I was just going to ask, if you're sending them to your sphere, is it different? Are you sending just listed, just sold, or is there other information you send?
Oh, that's perfect. There's different things you do in addition to, but the postcard is really the same, because what happens is this. So let's say that I'm on your sphere, but I'm in Lee's geographic farm, and I'm with, I think his name is Alfredo. I see the name there. And Alfredo, I'm on his sellers list because I responded someplace and now I'm potential seller lead. It doesn't matter whose list I'm on. I make the decisions the identical way. It's still based on trust. And trust is, do I know you're selling? Do I know your expertise? Do I trust you personally? And so what's interesting, in most agents, they miss this real element. And the element that they miss is that they think you change your marketing strategy based on what type of list you're targeting. But the content is always the same. Yeah, the tactic of how you reach out and engage may differ, but the ultimate strategy of what you do, the ultimate strategy of what causes them to be persuaded to choose you over someone else is all the same, because it's the same person. Does that make sense, Janice? Okay. Let me go back and I'll show you how all this starts to work. By the way, before I do that, I do have a question. Just a show of hands for those who are on video, which isn't that many. How many of you either do or have done postcard marketing in the past? All right.
And if you don't mind staying on video.
Yeah. If y'all can do video, I love your just sold. Oh, can I put that up there on the thing one more time? Oh, I even recognize that. Way to go, Lee. Good job. Yes. Perfect. So when you're dealing with just solds on the circle marketing, those numbers still hold true, but it's a little bit different than when you're doing if you're circle marketing for 150 people versus a farm at 1,000. So let me ask you, those who have done postcard marketing in the past, how many of you consider it successful? Was it successful for you? That's pretty interesting. So almost everyone raised their hands that they did it, and only one person raised their hands that it was successful. And that's what we find across the board is most agents have tried it, but it wasn't successful, so they stopped doing it. And I proved that in the mail because I rarely get any postcards in the mail. So I wanted to show you how to make it successful. And please, I much prefer conversation than a presentation. And so if you have any questions, please interrupt, because that's what I prefer. I want to walk you through there are two most significant things and what we've identified in postcard marketing. One is technology, one is content. The content, this thing I'm going to share right now, is the most significant component of the content that gives you as much as a 10x response. It's both of the things we do to combine, but this is a significant part. And it's what we call outside perception versus inside reality. This helps people trust your expertise of what you do. And the way this works is real simply that the homeowners out there, their perception of you as an agent is that all agents are the same, that all you do is stick a sign in the yard, list the home in the MLS, and wait for someone else to bring a buyer. And think about this. If that's true, that's how they believe, and that is true at large, then the implication is it doesn't matter who they choose to sell their home, because they're going to get the same price in the same time with the same hassle. And so there's no reason for them to choose you over anyone else. And this is why agents have such a hard time. This is also why when most agents have sent out postcards, it's always a me too type of postcard, and it doesn't do anything. But think about this. Assume that all the homeowners that you're targeting on your personal list, your geo farm, wherever it is, if they understood your skill and expertise and your experience to the same degree that you understand it about yourself, would they realistically choose anyone else besides you? And hopefully the answer is no. If they understood you as well as you understand yourself, then they would choose you every time. That's what we call your inside reality. And so what I want to do is I want to show you how to apply this in postcards. When you start to apply this in postcards, you get what we call performance-driven postcards. And with that, I want to answer the question, what are performance-driven postcards? So performance-driven postcards are postcards that we have developed through rigorous field testing, and they produce up to 10 times more listings than the standard postcards. And what we did is we did field testing on about 2 million postcards. We did, in that process, 21 split A/B marketing tests. This is where we test one thing against another to see which one came out better. Additionally, we did 37 additional message variation tests where we're testing different messages and content to see what's generally working better than something else. And we've tested over 17 designs and layouts to see which type of designs and layouts actually perform better. We're the only postcard company that I know of that has tested as thoroughly as we do. And that's why what we do performs superior to the standard. And there are two key components to what we do. One is our field tested content. I'm going to show you how this works. And the other one is some integrated technology that we built into the postcard. And both of these together just make it work really well. I wanted, as I walk into the field tested content, I would like to get someone to participate with me, maybe ideally someone who's never seen what we do, and just pipe up video, and I just want to have a chat with you and walk you through what we do. Who will participate?
I will.
Okay, and who's that?
Charisse, Carlos.
Charisse, okay, perfect. Thank you, Charisse.
How you doing,
And
Charisse?
Hey,
And Charisse, just out of curiosity, where are you from?
I am in Hampton Roads, Virginia. So I cover the Norfolk, not so much Virginia Beach, but Norfolk, Hampton, Newport News, Williamsburg.
Okay,
the 7
perfect.
cities. Mhm.
Okay, so I want to walk you through gradients of this field tested content and see and get your response to it. So most agents, when they send out a just sold postcard, they send out a postcard like this. Most of the people that raised their hands on this call said that they've sent out mailings and they weren't successful. And my guess is most of them sent out just sold postcard. So let me ask you a question. I want you to put yourself into the mindset of a homeowner. You're thinking about selling your home anytime over the next several months. You're moving that direction, okay? And you're trying to decide, who do I call to sell my home when I'm ready to put it on the market? When you get this postcard from Bill Smithson, what does this do to you emotionally? Does this make you want to choose him? Give me some feedback. How does this impress you with Bill's expertise and trust?
It doesn't do, I won't say anything for me, but it does very little for me. Like, there's no details. I'd be interested in knowing what it sold for, how long it took to sell,
Okay.
At a minimum.
Okay, perfect. All right. So now I wanted to show you how to influence the homeowner, with just a few words. I'm not going to change anything on this postcard, except I'm going to add a few words.
Okay.
I did it again. Another one sold at the top of the market price. Now, if you were to compare this postcard with the one without the words, what's the impact of those words?
Mega difference.
Mega difference. Okay. So give me, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being best, where would you rate this postcard on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of impact to you in wanting to choose Bill?
2.
2. When I add these words, Now, what does it do to you?
Bumps it up significantly, probably to a 5 or 6, maybe even 7.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Can it get better than that?
Yes.
Okay, so right now, by adding a few words, it's gone from a 2 to between a 5 and a 7. So let's call it a 6. So by adding a few words, I've just increased the effectiveness by 3 times. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to add a few more words. This home had been on the market 180 days with another agent without selling. I listed it at the same price and sold it in only 5 days for full price.
Whoa.
Okay, whoa. Okay, so now this makes a big impact, doesn't it?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so if this card was a 6, and we're going to lift the limit from a 10 to beyond that, okay?
Mhm.
Then what number would you give this card in terms of impact that it makes to you, the homeowner?
Wow. And we're going beyond 10, or
Yeah, we're going to go beyond 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
So where are we stopping though?
wherever you want to stop. So just in terms of gradient impact, if this was a 6,
Mhm.
and now we've added this description, what is the impact?
Oh man. 16.
16. Okay, so we've doubled it
Mhm.
from actually we've tripled it again from 6 to right about 16. Let's just call it 18. So it's a triple. Okay.
Okay.
So what we're finding is by adding a few words, we triple the results. By adding a few more words, we triple the results again. So now we're at 9 times greater impact.
Mm.
Can it? Let me ask you, what's causing the impact? Why are you increasing the level of impact? What is it doing to you?
Because you've given me more, or well, it's increasing my trust in his expertise. And if one agent is sat on the market for 180 days and nothing changed about it, then obviously he's doing something right.
There you go. So this is where, in order to get your inside reality to be perceived as their outside perception of you, you have to educate them. You have to educate them on the sales that you do and what's significant about those sales and how you accomplished it for them to understand why you're better than others. Is this making sense?
It does make sense. I guess my concern or question would be, how do you handle it if you're a new agent? And
We
you
have
don't
ways to
have
do that. We
expertise?
have ways to do that. Let's don't get caught in the weeds yet. Let me keep going, and we'll cycle back around to that in the Q&A session. Okay.
Okay.
So now the question is, can it get any better?
I think you're going to figure out a way to make it better.
You think so? You have confidence in me, huh?
I do.
All right. Well, you are absolutely right. So now we're going to change the design a little bit, and we're going to go to this design.
Okay.
Now, what's the first words that hit you on this design?
Let's see. Sold this home in 5 days for full price.
Perfect. So what I want you to see first is going to hit your eyeball first. So what this is up here is called a headline. So let me just kind of show you the design elements, part of the things that we tested. Everything is in normal print. Very few things are in reverse print. Reverse print loses about 8.5 times the conversion result. So everything we do is a dark font on a light color background. It starts with the headline. The purpose of the headline is to create curiosity so they will want to read the card. Notice right here, it says, here's how ... The purpose of the ... is to create curiosity, to pull them from the headline to the first sentence. The purpose of the first sentence is to get them to read the second sentence, and the purpose of the second sentence is to engage them on the third, because if I can engage them to the third sentence, I know I have a 2/3 chance they're going to read the entire thing. So all this is built with best practices of marketing in mind. The homeowner doesn't know that, but we know that this is what drives results. So now I'm going to read this for you. I know you can read it, but I'm just going to read it, and then I'm going to ask for your impression. Okay. So the first thing you see is sold this home in 5 days for full price. You go, wow. So now you're going to read the full headline. After 180 days with another agent without selling, Bill Smithson sold his home in 5 days for full price. Here's how ... Bill did it again. He sold this home at the top of the market price. How ... That drives him to the next sentence. He follows a proven 4-step process he created that consistently works. ... That means continue reading. So number 1 is preparation. He helps coordinate handymen and painters to ensure your home is fully prepared to make a great first impression. Second is pricing. He knows the limit to push the listing price without exceeding the market. Properly priced homes always get top dollar. Third is presentation. 95% of buyers start their search online. He uses professional photos and videos in his online marketing to attract the best buyers' attention. And fourth is promotion. He aggressively markets your home using a proven 21-step strategy that finds more buyers. More buyers means more offers and a higher sales price. So now, Charisse, is this better than the previous card?
Yeah,
That looks like, okay.
absolutely.
So if this card was an 18, where would you place this card in terms of persuasiveness in choosing Bill?
Like a 75.
Like a 75. Okay, so let's see, 75 divided by 18. That's another 4 times increase. Okay,
Mhm.
so now we were at 9 times better than just the regular sold. Now we're 4 times above that. So that puts it at 36 times increased results by modifying the design and by adding some content. Does this make an impact? Does this make
Yeah.
sense?
Mhm.
Now I'll have agents that tell me, well, gosh, that's too much writing. No one will read it. But yet what survey finds when you test it is the person who's thinking about selling their home will read it because that's why it produces more results. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we've got this format down of how do you start to persuade people, this is why we call this field-tested, performance-driven postcards. We know what drives the results. Another way that we can also show results is in a more humorous manner. We don't like to use humor unless it's purposely driven, but this kind of consolidates everything to show off the expertise of Bill in a little bit different format. If you think it's expensive hiring a professional, try hiring an amateur, okay? Kind of a humorous, but it makes a really big point. And then what we do is with Bill is we've taken his list to sales ratio and his list to sales price ratio and his days on market and compared it to the market as a whole. And we come up with these statements. Bill's homes get $6,000 more for a $300,000 home than the average amateur agent. Bill's homes sell 3.2 times faster than those sold by the average amateur agent. What does this do to you, Charisse? Does this give you confidence that Bill knows what he's doing?
It does. Mhm.
Does it give you confidence that he can probably sell your home for more money?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just another way to persuade a homeowner by giving facts. Okay. Now, put yourself now in the realm that you've never met Bill. So for you, you're part of his geographic farm. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And then you get a postcard that looks like this. Okay. Here's something fun you probably don't know about Bill Smithson. And it shows his family. And it tells a little bit that he and his wife love to travel. They pack the kids up in the car and go to all kinds of national parks across the country. When you see that postcard, what does that do to you in terms of your trust level for Bill? Does it do anything at all?
It makes me get to know more about him. And
Okay.
I can't trust him until I know more about him as a person.
Yeah. And so what we found, we actually found this one by accident. This is one of those accidental tests, sort of like Goodyear coming out with the Goodyear rubber for his tires was an accident. What happened with us is I was on the phone with a client named Zach. We'd been mailing postcards to his geographic farm for several years. This was late October. And he said, Beatty, can we mail the same postcard we mailed in January? I'm thinking, why would you want to do that? No sales come out of January, right? Or very few. And he said, because it produced half of all of the listings I got in my farm this year. So I looked it up. And the only thing difference was it was a family photo. And then it made sense. You go back to the data that Gary Keller compiled in his book. If someone has met you, they're more likely to do business with you than they haven't. And so instantly I realized that in a non-med environment, If you expose them to who you are in real life and you put a family photo, they can say, boy, it looks like I can trust that person. That looks like a good family, looks like everyone's happy. You can tell something about them by their family. And so now it increases that trust level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So can it get any better?
Sure it can.
Yeah, but you don't know how, but I do, right?
Right.
So the next thing we did is we add an integrated stealth tracker technology to our postcards. And this allows us to identify sellers before they go on the market. This goes back to Lee's comment when people asking how quickly do people typically get responses in postcard. And if you do traditional standard postcard marketing, it's a crapshoot. And you may be marketing to a farm for a year, year and a half before you get your first listing. What we have found is by the use of stealth tracker technology with our marketing, that with the right amount of homes and depending on your list and stuff, and I'll show this to you in just a moment, but it's not uncommon that our clients will get a listing from their very first mailing, okay? Or sometimes if not the first mailing, maybe the second mailing. It's not guaranteed. There are a lot of variables, but the primary thing is it's a lot faster in getting listings. So let me show you how this works. So this is the address side of the postcard. It's basically broken down into two panels. The normal panels, right? Your who you are and where we're mailing to, and then what we call the direct response panel. So I want to focus on the direct response panel. Using the same best practices in marketing, the first thing we do is a headline that's focused only on someone who's thinking about selling your home. So let me ask you, Charisse, if you got this postcard and you're thinking about selling, and you see, are you thinking about selling your home? Are you more likely or less likely to read whatever it's going to say?
More likely.
Okay, so the headline grabs your attention and brings you into the main copy. And the main copy says, I may get you top dollar immediately because of special buyers I have. Many are looking for a specific type home and often pay full price to get it. Learn what they typically look for and see if your home is a match. If it is, call me immediately, scan the code. If you're thinking about selling, you read that, are you more likely to throw the postcard away or scan the code?
Scan the code.
So now we're going to scan the code. So watch the sequence. Grab your attention, create interest, create a call to action, okay? So when you scan the code, you're going to that URL. That URL and that code is unique to this postcard, meaning if we're mailing out 100,000 postcards, we're mailing out 100,000 unique QR codes and URLs. So what happens is as soon as you scan it, it hits our system. We match that code directly to the person that we mailed it to. So now simply by you scanning that code, you don't even know that we now know exactly who you are. So we send you to the website to get that information. And we send a notice over to Bill Smithson that says, you know, Charisse, or in this case, Melissa Maraha, right, has just visited your website. So now this gives you a chance while they're visiting your website that you can actually get on the phone with them and start to follow up or do whatever the follow-up process. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So here's one significant reason this is so effective. It plays off of what a homeowner thinking about selling wants to know, and it makes it innocuous for them to check out. They don't have to call the agent. They don't want to get involved with the salesperson yet, but they're willing to click the code. And because they don't know that you know who they are, they're more willing and free to do that. And tests have shown, especially if you do website tests on how many people fill out the form, most people, you'll find that you'll get about a 20 times increase in responses if they think they can do it anonymously. And so that's why that's effective. So let me show you now what type of results these produce. I mentioned they produce up to 10 times the results. I want to show you just a couple of case studies. So this is a client out in Los Angeles, California, targeting an area called Horse Thief Canyon. When we started working with him, he was a nobody in terms of sales over there, less than 1% of the listings. It was a 1,500 home farm. After his second mailing, he says, I'm speechless. By our second mailing, we have listed 3 homes and have 6 more listings coming on the market in the next 6 months. At the end of the first year, they said that they'd already earned $99,000 directly from us. And then 6 months later, so this is now 18 months in the farm, they sell 22% of all the homes, outselling their number 2 agent by 7 times. And what gives them this jump start, that's that QR code. Another agent over in Atlanta says, I'm ecstatic since we began implementing the Master Grabber 2 or 3 months ago. We've already reached 3 million in sales, have another 3 million we should be coming in 3 months, another 3 to 5 million of inventory coming in. Also works with past clients and sphere of influence. We were talking about that just a moment ago. So this guy was using a very well-known service for getting unending referrals, working with your past clients and sphere of influence. So he's referencing that here. He says, I've been using another system focused on referrals for over a year with no noticeable results. It was very expensive. He switched over to us at a lower cost. And he said, I've already received 18 new clients in my first 7 months. Okay, so this stuff really works. The question is where? What types of marketing can you do with performance-driven postcards? Well, you can do just sold marketing with it. We have a service called Circle Marketing, which is very simple. Once you get set up on our service, so we know who you are, as soon as you make a sale, or even if it's a listing, doesn't matter, all you do is email us a photo of the home you sold, the address, and a short message that you want. We give you kind of a guideline set of messages that are powerful messages, those same messages, Sharice, I just showed you on some of our postcards. And then we'll actually go and get all of the homes in a radius around that sale that you just made, and we'll mail this postcard. So literally just 90 seconds or less, you sending us an email with the information, boom, it shoves out just sold postcards. Another way you can use this is with geographic farming. This is where most of our clients actually do business with us because they're looking for ways to increase their sales over and above beyond where they currently get them. And so with geographic farming, there's a process we'll guide you through on how to select the best farm if you need help on that. But these performance-driven postcards work great there. Another place is your past clients and sphere of influence. If you're not marketing to your past clients and sphere of influence, that should be your number 1 target right off the bat. Put as much of your budget that you need to allocate to your past clients and sphere of influence, allocate the rest of your budget to other cold market areas because it will produce a ton of results. We also do.
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
Yep. We also do this in agent attraction. I know someone was with one of the agent attraction companies where you are attracting other agents to your brokerages. This concept works there. We also do it with commercial property as well. So it doesn't matter what type of area that you market in, this works in all of them. So Isaiah, let me go back to you on that.
So one of the things that I'm really excited about rolling out for 2022 and that Beatty and I are masterminding is we're building in what's called, if you guys want to write this down, it's kind of a fancy term, but it's something that is so important. I think an unbelievable compliment to postcards, and that's what's called dynamic remarketing. Okay. And it's a service that we're going to be offering to our existing clients that is going to allow us to take a list in your account and put a video up in front of them all over every major social media channel and every major website. And what makes it dynamic is when that lead goes into a different status in the CRM with the Ren Marketing Hub, the messaging can actually change dynamically, and the video that can change dynamically. And when a new lead goes in to the system, let's say a street text lead or ZBuyer lead hits the system, it will automatically pop up an ad in front of them. And what I want to work with you on, Beatty, is having for anyone who's using run postcards is to have that messaging on the postcard match the digital ad that they're going to
Yes.
be with the dynamic remarketing, and having that come together along with an email going out to the database, and really work with you on having that that psychology that you teach be infiltrated through a multi-channel marketing approach, and just see what happens with the power of the postcard and all of that coming together. I'm super excited to do that with our brokerage myself. So
Yeah, that anytime you can do additional touches that are all hitting from different angles. One of the things that the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book really pulls out, and I'm a big fan of the book because it's tested statistics. It's all about statistics of what drives results. And what they found, this is where, if anyone's read it or you've heard of Keller Williams' 33 touch system concept, this is where it came from. What they found is those agents who got the most consistent results out of any list that they targeted, they averaged 33 touches, but the other key significant was that those touches came in from different points and different places. It wasn't just one type of touch repeatedly. And that's what will make what Isaiah and we're working on so much more effective, because wherever they go, online, offline, they're getting touch with the same messaging, powerful performance-driven messaging from different angles, and it just reinforces it. Let me suggest that if you want more of what we do with our postcards, to visit our website and learn more on that. And it's real easy. You can just go to renpostcards.com. You can also go into the back office system with your REN system and click on REN Postcards there. And when you're there, let me encourage you, real important, if you haven't already, as soon as you go to the website, a pop-up page comes up and allows you to download the top 5 things that we've tested that produce the most results. What we did is those 21 split marketing tests that we did, we measure the increased results or decrease based on each one. We pulled out the most significant 5 that occurred, and we put it together in a short video that will show you exactly what we tested and what the results were. And 3 of those 5 each produced 800% more results over the control group. And there are things that if you're doing any marketing, you're probably doing it, but you're doing it wrong. Okay. And so this will really impact whatever you do, postcards or anything else. So go to renpostcards.com. When that pop-up form comes up, fill out the form and you can get that. So let me open up just for questions, comments, dialogue.
Well, I have something, Beatty. Alfredo, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, quick question about the past clients postcards. What exactly is the content that you send to them?
And so what we do on our postcards is, let me show this back to you. So the way it works is when we build out these postcards, the reason we know what you do is we have a short checklist interview that we do with you, and we identify what your best practices are, and then we create the postcards very customized specifically to you and what you do. So everyone's postcards, while they may resemble each other to some degree, everyone is unique to you. So what we're sending to your past clients and sphere of influence would be things that you do, your best practices, your inside reality. We're just going to use our professional copywriter to do a much better job than you and automate the whole thing. And the final thing that we do with all of that is when we do it, we go through and we create the entire year right up front. So you can set it and forget it and not have to worry about it thereafter.
And how often do you suggest to send this postcard? Is it monthly or?
Yes, so it kind of depends. So if you're sending to a list that they love you already, let's say it's your past clients and sphere of influence, you've been marketing to them, you're calling them, you're engaging with them, and you're getting good business already, I would do once a month with them because you don't really need to give it that extra booster shot. But if you're marketing a list that you really haven't thoroughly and successfully marketed to, your past clients that they rarely hear from you, a geographic farm, then we would recommend probably 18 times a year. That's 50% more. And what that does is it gives a good boost. Usually with a good list, you can market it for 18 times a year for the first year, and then you can drop it down to 12 times a year thereafter and just kind of keep it on simmer.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep. What other questions?
Beatty, one unique campaign that we did with Ben Lang. Ben Lang is with you guys with Ren
Yep.
Postcards, and what we did is we took all of his Z-Buyer leads that were about 6 months old, and he did an email campaign, or sorry, he did a postcard campaign to the older age Z-Buyer leads. He actually got 2 listings off of a five sequence postcard campaign to his old database.
I love that. And yeah, what we did with him, so these Z buyers were people who'd already said, I'm interested in selling. So it's a hot list. And what we did is we wanted to hit it really hard, really fast, and pull whatever listings that were in there. So we did a 5 sequence mailing once a week. Boom, 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 boom. What we did is we took the postcards we'd already created for him for his geographic farming, and we carved out the best of the best that we thought would be best for this type of list, and we repurposed them and sent them as a separate campaign just to that list as a one-time sequence to that list. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm glad to hear the results Isaiah already pulled out 2 listings. So that totally paid for all of the expense and many times more.
Yeah, it was
so we don't have many expired sales these days, but they're coming. Okay, there's a shift coming in the market, and we're going to get back to expired sales. This same concept will work for that.
Yeah.
We're going to get back to short sales. This same concept will work. So one other thing I did not mention, Isaiah, we also do niche marketing. So if any of you are in like a second home market or lakefront property market or anything like that, we can work custom with you and really create things very specific to the niche and make it even more effective.
Cool.
Yeah, Scott.
I just got this in the mail today.
Hey, that looks familiar.
Yeah. It was just like I just was checking the mail in between these the classes, and then here's the
Check it out.
personalized thing. So it just arrived, and I'll let you know how it goes.
You made me an honest person. Now you can say I actually told you the truth.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
then I
what
see
they
it
look
said
like.
you mailed it to my house, so I knew that it actually went out, or when people get it, because I get your email saying it's on its way, but you never know until.
Yeah. Hey, let me throw this out because I know Lee is using, I think, probably our circle marketing. And what we find is if we've customized your set of postcards for you already and you're doing circle marketing, reach out to us and let us know so we can let you pick which of your customized cards we can then repurpose into your circle marketing cards. We do that with Ben. We do that with other agents. And what that does is it'll take a bump up on results for you in circle marketing because now we put your customized content out there with it.
Yeah, I'd like to set up a call with you because we have like a big team, and I'm thinking about trying to offer your services for multiple agents and go in and try to figure out a way that I could offer that service to multiple agents in multiple markets.
Sure. So if you want to do that, just email support@mastergrabber.com. Just let them know that you want to meet with me and why, and then they'll schedule a time for you.
Okay.
I'd love to meet with you on that.
Great.
One of the things that if you're currently doing postcards through the system, make sure you get with the tech team because we just did a rollout integration where Scott, for example, you can the leads that click on his technology, when they click, and it can actually point to, if they're not already in your database, they can actually point to our Ren hub, and they'll end up going and getting ported into the Ren marketing hub, and it'll automatically trigger a follow-up system process for you. So like Beatty and I haven't talked about this in a while, but that integration's been sitting there for a while. We're kind of in beta with it and ready to roll it out. And I'd love for a couple people to test that integration out and see, just get your feedback on that integration.
Yeah. So, and let me really parrot that. This integration is going to be a huge boost for you, because what it does is it takes everything and condenses it into the same location. All the follow-up, all the notification. If Ren is helping you follow up and schedule appointments with those people, then what that does is we update your postcards with information to drive it back into your Ren system. Every time you get a click through, it goes through Ren. Every time you get a phone call, it goes through Ren. And so now everything is channeled through one location. You can better manage it, stay on top of it, and now it's just totally seamless. So really encourage you, as we roll out beta on that to test it, that you raise your hand and say, I want to be on that test.
So Lehman, are you still here? I think you're probably.
I am still here. Yep.
Cool. So can we get a couple of volunteers that want to test that?
Sure thing. Do you want them to just email me?
Just drop your name in the chat if you want Lehman to reach out to you to do that beta test.
Hey, Beatty, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Will you address how we would do that how we would maximize the effectiveness of the postcards if we're a new agent and don't have a lot of transactions under our
Absolutely. So we had the postcards designed in what we call light, basic, and premium. And what we do is we realized, let me show you, I'm going to show my screen again. What we did is we realized that the best practices that makes the top agents results produce top results are the best practices that even brand new agents can conform to. So take out this sale for just a moment. Let's assume you have no sales. So the headline might say Bill Smithson sells homes for more money, which is a very subjective statement, but is also accurate. And then we show a picture of an inside photo of a home, but we don't make any comment that it's sold, that you sold it. So let's say you're a new agent without any sales. And then we modify the content based on your best practices. Rather than saying, here's what Bill did to sell this home, we might say, here's what Bill does to sell his homes. And we'll use a very similar format content so we can still educate someone on what you do, but not necessarily tie it back to a very specific sale. Additionally, let's say that you are more of a buyer's agent, you don't have many listing sales, and you do have a sold, okay? So we might say, I did it again. Another one sold in only 3 days. Okay, you don't want to say at the top of the market price, because that's going to go to your client that you just sold the house to, right? So we say another one sold in only 5 days on market. So there are things that you can do very easily and simply if you don't have many sales, or if you don't have seller side sales, to still make the entire process effective. So that's how we do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions on marketing as whole, postcards specifically? Yeah.
Just ask the question, can we do the follow-up with Street Tech? So I think you're talking about your Street Tech seller leads, Janice. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, so it would be the same process as what Beatty did with the Z buyer leads. And Beatty, you can describe what you did with the Z buyer leads. I'm pretty sure you just pulled them and sent the cards to a group of later age leads in a
So
book. So
all we did is we're able to segment your marketing list. So think about maybe you have one list that we're targeting to your past clients. And we're going to do that once a month because you've been really on top of your past clients for years. Then we have another list, and this is going to be your geographic farming. And we might be doing that one with the same postcards, but we're going to send that 18 times a year. Then we're going to do a just sold mailing, circle marketing. We're going to pull out the best of your content cards and use that. And now we're going to create the Z buyer type of lead list. And these are high priority lead list. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the existing postcards we've already created for you with no effort on your part. We're just going to say, okay, let's send these 5. And now we're going to create a separate campaign and we're going to hit those once a week and then stop. So using the same information, because as I shared with Janice earlier, using the same information, we're just redeploying it because homeowners make decisions the same way. What we will do though, maybe if the Z buyers are, or if we were to take a list like maybe expired sellers, if they come on the market, we may modify your content specifically for that. But that's all you can do is just segment out that list. And then we're going to select which postcards you want to send and just send them at a much more rapid frequency and then stop it.
awesome. Cool.
All right.
All right. If you're also thinking about signing up to do the Ren postcard system with Master Grabber, what I want you to do is also drop your name in there, and John Lehman will actually reach out to you to start that process and integration. And Janice is already rocking and rolling with it, so that'll be a great integration, a seamless integration. Vanity James asks, how long will it take to set up the entire year?
It takes very little time on our end, as long as you get us the content. We can do it as quickly as a week to 10 days, but it really depends on you, because to set it up for a year, you just need to go back and say, here are 5 or 8 sales that I've done. Here's 3 or 4 photos on each sale, and here are the stats on those sales. That's basically what we need. And then from there, we put everything together, send it back to you for approval, tweak it as needed, and then it's locked down.
And guys, to get the most out of this, we want to make sure that you start with. I want you to talk to John Lehman first, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at your database and we're going to look at give you a recommendation based on what you have going on the different list options that you should choose based on what we're doing for you as an individual. And then also give you making sure that we have a plan together to make sure the multi-channel marketing is working in conjunction with the postcard. So I want to give you an example. The Brown team is doing a postcard campaign with Beatty, going well. But what they didn't do is the list they gave Beatty to market to was different than the list that they have in their system that we're nurturing through email and text and ranking. Doesn't make any sense. And so it's not having the power that it could have. And we want to make sure that the postcards you're using are going to match the list that we're also remarketing to. Does that make sense to everybody? That's the key. That's a big key in this factor. So if you just drop your name in there, Lehman, if you can reach out to them, I'd like to start with their database and then have them, once we're clear on that, then have them go to the next step with the postcards and turn that on a day later. So
Yep.
that way they can get the best experience. And Beatty, I think it's going to be great. We're going to have some awesome case studies this way as well together.
Perfect.
And this is also going to be a great rollout for our beta test here, Beatty, too, with the integration happening. So Let's give Beatty a huge round of applause. Thank you, Beatty, for taking your time to do this.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
You know, the knowledge base on sales copy is something that I took for granted a long time, just to be straight up with you. Like, we always hear the importance of sales copy. And really what I like about Beatty is he doesn't just say, hey, postcards work. He really takes the time to explain the psychology of what it takes to write good sales copy that's persuasive. And I want you guys to listen and go back and listen to this training. Again, not just from the perception of what to do with postcards, but also understanding the psychology of the sales copy that is built into it, because you can use this for your other types of marketing. And we can work on this for other types of marketing together that you do. I'll give you a quick example. You know, Beatty's talking about headlines a lot, right? Like that's really, it's the importance of a headline that's grabbing the attention. And then there's the body, the copy, which is, you know, you have your hook, and then you have that educational / story piece, and then you have really that call to action. And that same psychology should be built into all of the marketing that we're doing. And I'll give an example. I changed one of my sales pages recently, and all I did was change a couple words on the page, and the conversion increased by 10% just by changing. And so a lot of people take for granted sales copy. And so Beatty, thanks for educating us on sales copy. And I think if you come back next time, it'd be awesome for you to take a deeper dive in just the psychology of sales copy in general, because I think you train on that better than anybody that I've ever heard. And so I think that'd be a lot of, would you guys find that interesting if we had just a sales copy training in general for you, where it was postcard related, but also like how to do your email headlines when you're sending out an email to your clients, what the body of your content, would you guys find that conversation helpful if we did that, trained on sales copy? Cool. All right. So Beatty, maybe sometime next month, we can coordinate schedules and
yeah, I think that'd be fun. I would love to do that. That is a passion of mine.
Awesome. That sounds good. All right. What were the takeaways? Let's wrap up with takeaways from this conversation, and we'll go from there. What were your big takeaways today, guys? Copy matters. Absolutely. Copy does matter.
And I think tying in the postcards to make sure they're in your database to email, because I don't think mine's targeted that way. So I
yeah,
make sure that
it's huge. Yep, good. Market to your sphere. That was a big one for me too. I don't know why. That was a big one for me too. It's just, you know, a big one for me too is like marketing to your late age leads.
I think the other thing is consistency too, because, you know, I've done it in the past where I'm like, you know, years ago, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do postcards, and you send one out and maybe a second one, and you don't get any results, and then you stop. And I don't know if you've ever seen the graphic where the guy's digging for diamonds,
right?
And he just stops. He quits, and the diamonds are just like 2 feet beyond him, and you stop. I mean, and that's the thing, is you gotta be consistent. And I think that if it's a money issue, you need to allocate the money. You say, I'm going to spend, you know, $3,000 towards postcards over the next X number of months, and put that aside, and that's money spent, and that's part of your strategy, and don't deviate from that, because if you do, you know, and then you can't go to the next shiny object. There's, you know, you go on Facebook and there's 100 different people trying to sell you 100 different things in real estate. You know, you got to stay consistent. And the one thing I can say about postcards, it's tried and true. If you look in every market across the United States, is a lot of the top producers do postcards religiously, month in and month out, and mine certain, you know, there's certain markets, and they're super consistent on that.
That's a really good point, Lee. That's a really good point. I remember the first time that I did postcards. What happens is month one, you're excited. Here's what happens. Month one, you're excited about it. You start seeing a few results here and there. Month two, you're like, okay. Month three, you're like, you got solicited by somebody else and you're like thinking about this other idea, right? Month four, right? Month four happens, and then you get the urge in this to just to go do something different. And I remember that feeling the first time I did it, right? That or me wanting to knee jerk. And I think the thing is to say, okay, well, how can we fine tune it and optimize it? Should be the knee jerk, right? And say, okay, is it the list? Is it the multi-channel marketing? How can we make it better? And then let consistency win the day. Is kind of, I'm glad you mentioned that, Lee, because I remember that feeling the first time I ever did postcards.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone will try to, their competitors of postcards will tell you that it's, nobody even reads the mail anymore. And, you can reach X number more people through digital, but, there's something to say about, having something that, that's.
Here's the thing I hate about our industry. Can I vent for a second, folks? Like, I can't stand when people say that, because the truth is it's not any one thing. It's optimizing an entire approach. It's a multi-channel approach is what wins the day. And it's you having your online and offline marketing coming together in sync is what wins. And I can't stand when I hear these ads or these speeches and be like, oh, Facebook's dead, or postcards are dead, or like, no, none of it's dead. Okay. It's about getting it to work together. And so if you hear that kind of rhetoric, it goes back to your budget. You can't do it all at once, always, but it's not about any one thing. It's about getting it to all work in sync in a system that is what is going to bring you guys to the next level. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm so glad you said that, Lee, because I can't because it's so true. It's like, oh man. I heard somebody the other day say, prospecting is dead. I wanted to fall out of my chair. I'm like, oh my God, like, you freaking idiot. Like, I can't believe you're teaching this to people. Prospecting is dead. And sure enough, they're pushing a social media thing, which is fine. But like, here's the thing, folks. Anyway, I could keep going on and on. I'm just like, look, prospecting's not dead. You're just doing it the wrong way, probably, right? You just got to shift how you're doing it and use your social media to complement your prospecting efforts. Anyway, that's my rant for the day.
Yeah. I'll tell one last story. I just brought on an agent. She's official, I think today, and her coach, she had a coach, and her coach was big on social media, and told her that her database wasn't important.
Wow.
And I just blew it up. I just blew it up and got her to, immediately see the value of what we're providing through this platform. And she's like, she's ready to meet with Amy next week to get her whole database, but she never really kept a good database. And so
it's craziness. Yeah, so it doesn't always have to be an either or, it's an and, right? So
agreed.
Cool. All right, guys. Beatty, thank you again. Thanks again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoyed it.
All right.
Y'all have a blessed day.
You too. Bye-bye.